it came about, and why did you write it?
Okay, the reason is because I've been interested in philosophy, for lack of a better word. So I'll include spirituality in that as well, but that's not really I don't really want to categorize myself as being interested in spirituality. But I studied philosophy, and I was interested very early on in a guy named Jiddu Krishnamurti, and I read several of his books. And I had a couple of friends that I would talk about basically what's the meaning of life, or this kind of broad topic, let's say. And I'd always kind of been on and off interested in these themes. And a friend of mine was following a guy named Adyashanti maybe in 2008. And so I became aware of Adyashanti, and then at some point Eckhart Tolle, and then I put it on hold again for a while, and then somebody brought to my attention, or somehow came to my attention, Rupert Spira. And so I can kind of say that I've touched the kind of themes of Rupert Spira, Adyashanti, Krishnamurti, Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts. I don't know, all of these, if you can kind of group them all together as philosophy, spirituality, I've kind of touched these topics lightly. And in 2017, I went to an Adyashanti retreat. And then I think in 2019, I went to a Rupert Spira retreat. And still, when I went to these, it still felt kind of like their messages were prescriptive, and I always felt like I had to do something still, or there had to be something done. And it was kind of confusing if one way that you might interpret the message is that nobody's there, or there's no self. So then why is there this doing when they're still saying that there's not doing? And then afterwards, somehow I got introduced to Tony Parsons. Then of course, if you start listening to Tony Parsons, then Andreas pops up and some mooji pops up, and these other people pop up. So I was kind of, let's say in a way, I was kind of fed up with all of these pursuits and all of these gurus and all of these teachers. And I decided I'm going to write an email and try to call or try to contact several of these people to see if they would do a one-on-one with me. Because I didn't like at the retreat that you would go and there'd be 200 people, or in Mooji's case, there might be 1,000, and everybody's kind of competing in a sense to get their question answered. And then they can't do a follow-up question. And that person that asked the question, you can't follow up on them over a trajectory. There's not a path that you can kind of watch them go. It's just one random question after the other. And same with the books. The book formats are generally somebody edited or transcribed all the talks from maybe 10 years or 20 years, and maybe from 40 years ago or 100 years ago, and then put it into a book, and you don't have any relationship to the people that are asking these questions. So they might divide a chapter on the chapter of love, and on the chapter of duty, or on the chapter of ethics, or whatever, but it's not one person. So I just thought it would be unique to have a conversation with one person on this topic, where you kind of follow a beginning to an end, in a sense. So that's a long answer.
Oh, that's great. I thought the book was brilliant. You mentioned that it's kind of like a take on the Bhagavad Gita with Arjuna and Krishna. Can you speak more about that?
Well, that was just that I wanted it to be a modern version of that, in the sense that it's between two people, and it kind of follows the arc in a moment in time of two people talking about these subjects or this topic. So modern in the sense for 2020 or 2019, and not in the Bhagavad Gita time.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm going to ask Andreas now. Andreas, how did this come about? You explain in the book, but how was the experience answering all of these questions?
Well, maybe I also just start a bit before. So when Justin contacted me, I was very, I don't know, maybe surprised, or not surprised, but we just haven't met before. and the idea of making a book was quite early on. So this was on the one hand interesting for me very much, but also I was of course surprised a bit. But then we just started talking, and I just liked it, and it turned out to be, it was interesting, and it was kind of, I mean, I was a bit suspicious in the beginning of the intentions, or if I could answer the intentions, because there is no intention really in my message, and there is no intention on me. So even the idea to do something in order to make a book out of it was kind of, didn't really apply to how I thought. But I just like the idea of just talking to each other and then see what comes out of it. And I liked it actually right away when we were speaking. And yeah, I liked it. And basically this was my experience for all the talks, that we had a nice connection, and that Justin was really interested also in the whole thing. So that the idea that we do that for a book was pretty much in the background, if it was there at all in the end. So in the end, we were just talking, and then also recorded it and turned it into a book. And I like the outcome very much. I mean, of course, it's a big book. It's huge in a way, and it may seem to be huge in contrast to nothing is being said at all. But I like it. I like it very much, actually.